Ryan Walker moved slowly through the thick alien jungle, pushing large blue leaves away from his face. His boots sank slightly into the soft ground, which glowed faintly under every step. This planet was nothing like Earth. The air smelled sweet, but also dangerous, and strange animal cries echoed from all directions. Ryan had been here for 2 days, searching for minerals his company wanted. He expected danger, but not loneliness. The jungle was huge, silent, and felt alive. He stopped to drink water. Suddenly, he heard a tiny sound behind him like a weak cry. Ryan froze. He didn't move. He only listened. The cry came again, soft and sad. It sounded like a small animal in pain. Or scared. Ryan turned slowly, scanning the bushes. Bright green plants moved slightly. Something was hiding there. "Hello," Ryan whispered carefully. He knew talking to wildlife was useless, but it made him feel braver. The leaves shook. A small creature stepped out, thin, shaking, and barely able to stand. It looked like a tiger cub, but alien. Its fur was silver with glowing blue stripes. Its eyes were large, round, and full of fear. The cub's ribs showed clearly. It hadn't eaten for days. Ryan felt his heart tighten. "Oh, buddy, you're starving," he whispered. The cub tried to growl, but it was too weak. It only made a little squeak and collapsed to the ground. Ryan slowly knelt down, keeping his movements slow and gentle. He knew wild babies could be dangerous if their mother was near. But he saw no other animals around. He opened his backpack and took out a protein bar. The cub sniffed the air and lifted its head weakly. Ryan broke a small piece and placed it on the ground. Backing away to show he meant no harm, the cub crawled toward the food and ate like it hadn't tasted anything in days. It looked up at Ryan, its big eyes filled with hunger and hope. Ryan smiled softly. "It's okay, little one. Here, eat more." He placed another piece. The cub slowly stood and walked closer to him. This time it didn't wait. It pressed its small head against Ryan's knee, trusting him. Ryan felt surprised. Animals usually stayed away from humans, but this cub was different. He gently stroked the cub's head. Its fur was warm and soft, like touching warm light. The cub purred a strange vibrating sound that made the ground shake slightly. Ryan gave it more food until its stomach was round and full. After a while, the cub rolled onto its back, relaxed for the first time. It looked up at Ryan like it wanted him to stay, but then a loud crack echoed through the jungle. The cub jumped to its feet, ears raised high. Its eyes widened in panic. Ryan stood up quickly, scanning the trees. The jungle went silent. No birds, no insects, nothing. The air felt heavy. What was that? Ryan whispered. The cub ran in a circle nervously, then looked back at Ryan with urgent eyes. It made a soft warning growl, as if telling him to run. But before Ryan could move, the cub suddenly sprinted into the jungle, disappearing between the glowing trees. "Hey, wait!" he shouted, but it was gone. Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. Something had scared the cub. Something big. He picked up his bag and slowly backed into a clearer area. His hands shook slightly. He wasn't afraid easily, but the silence of the forest made him feel small. Then he noticed something. Footprints. Not the cub's, much bigger. They surrounded him in a wide circle. Heavy, deep footprints with sharp claw marks. Ryan swallowed hard. This wasn't here before, he whispered. He crouched to inspect them. Whatever made these prints was huge, bigger than any predator he had seen. And the prints were fresh. Very fresh. He looked around nervously. The trees seemed to lean closer. A cold breeze passed through the leaves, carrying the smell of wet fur. Ryan held his breath. He slowly looked up. Something watched him. Two faint glowing eyes floated between the shadows of the trees. Not human, not friendly. The eyes didn't blink. They stared directly at him. Ryan stepped back. The eyes moved silently. No sound, no growl, just cold observation. Ryan felt sweat on his neck. He reached for his small flare gun, but before he could grab it, the eyes faded back into the jungle. Gone. But the feeling, the presence, stayed. Ryan stood absolutely still, listening to the forest. A branch snapped behind him. He turned. Nothing. Another. Crack. Then another. The jungle wasn't empty anymore. Something was following him. Something massive. Something intelligent. Ryan slowly backed away, heart racing. He didn't know if that creature was angry because he fed its cub, or if it saw him as food. Either way, he knew one thing. He had stepped into a mother's territory. The wind carried a deep, low growl that made the ground shake. Ryan felt it vibrate inside his chest. He whispered to himself, "What have I gotten myself into?" The last thing he saw before the scene ended was a shape tall, powerful, and silent, moving among the trees, watching him with glowing tiger-like eyes. And Ryan understood one terrifying truth. The cub didn't run away. It ran to get help. Ryan barely slept the night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those glowing eyes in the jungle. The alien forest creaked and breathed like a living creature around him. He kept the small fire burning until morning, afraid of what waited in the shadows when the sun finally rose. Blue and bright on this strange planet, Ryan packed his gear and prepared to move. The air felt lighter now, but his mind stayed alert. The memory of those massive footprints kept repeating in his head. He took one step forward and heard a soft sound behind him. Not danger. Not growling. A tiny chirp. Ryan turned slowly. The cub. It stood at the edge of the camp, staring at him with bright blue eyes. Its silver fur shone in the morning light. But the cub wasn't weak anymore. It looked stronger, more confident, like it had returned with purpose. Ryan smiled softly. "Hey there. You came back." The cub blinked once, then made a sharp, urgent sound, almost a command. It wanted Ryan to follow. Before Ryan could respond, the ground shook. A deep, powerful thump. Thump. Thump echoed through the trees. The cub stepped aside. Something enormous approached. Ryan's breath stopped. From between the glowing trees, a tall shadow slowly emerged. The air vibrated with each step. A giant figure stepped into the light. A breathtaking alien tigress woman, half humanoid, half beast, more powerful than any creature Ryan had ever seen. She stood over 7 feet tall, with smooth black and gold stripes glowing faintly across her skin. Her tail swayed behind her like a moving whip of light. Her hair was long, wild, and matched the color of burning embers. Her eyes, those glowing eyes from last night, locked onto him with a mix of suspicion and curiosity. Ryan's knees almost weakened. So, this was the cub's mother. She was beautiful. She was dangerous. And she was now only a few steps away from him. Ryan raised his hand slowly to show he meant no harm. "Easy, I don't want to fight." The tigress didn't blink. She circled him like a predator, testing its prey, silent, smooth, terrifying. Each move showed her strength. Her claws extended and retracted with soft clicks. She sniffed the air, her sharp senses scanning everything about him. Ryan's heart raced. If she wanted to kill him, he wouldn't even have time to scream. But then she stopped. The cub ran to her, pressing against her leg and making a soft purring sound. The tigress lowered her head to sniff the cub, checking it was unharmed. Then she looked back at Ryan. Her expression changed. Not anger. Recognition. She had understood something. Ryan pointed slowly at the cub. "I fed your kid," he said softly. "It was starving." The tigress watched him with intense eyes. Then she placed her hand on her chest and bowed her head slightly, an alien gesture of respect. Ryan felt shock roll through him. She was thanking him. But the moment of peace didn't last. Suddenly the tigress jerked her head sharply toward the trees. Her ears rose. Her tail stiffened. She made a low, deep growl that shook the leaves. Ryan looked around nervously. What now? The tigress moved incredibly fast. She placed one strong arm around Ryan's shoulder and pushed him behind her. Her claws extended fully this time, not at him, but toward the forest. She was protecting him. The cub ran behind Ryan's leg. Trembling, Ryan's fear turned into confusion. Why are you protecting me? What is out there? A long, distant roar answered him. It wasn't the mother. It wasn't the cub. It wasn't even the same creature as last night. This roar was far louder, far heavier, far angrier, Ryan felt. The ground shake. Something colossal moved in the jungle, breaking trees, crushing bushes, growling with a hunger that chilled the blood. The tigress pressed Ryan closer to her body as if shielding him. Her muscles tightened. Her stripes glowed, brighter sign of battle readiness. Ryan whispered, "Your cub ran to get you because something else is hunting. Both of us?" She turned her face slightly toward him and nodded once. Yes. The hunter was not her. The hunter was something worse. The tigress growled a warning to the jungle. The cub clung to Ryan, terrified. Another roar shook the air. Then a massive silhouette appeared through the trees, huge, horned, its breath steaming in the cold morning air. Ryan felt cold fear spread in his chest. The tigress stepped forward, claws ready. Her tail lashed like a burning whip. She was ready to fight for her cub. She was ready to fight for her territory. But when she glanced back at Ryan, her eyes softened. She was also ready to fight for him because he had saved her child. Ryan swallowed hard. This was no longer about survival. This was the beginning of an unexpected bond, one that would change his life forever. The massive shadow in the trees moved slowly, each step crushing branches like they were paper. Ryan felt the air turn cold. The cub pressed itself against his leg, shaking violently. Even the tigress mother, strong, proud, fearless, lowered her body into a defensive stance, whatever was approaching. Even she feared it. The glowing plants dimmed, as if the jungle itself wanted to hide. Strange birds flew away in large groups, screaming warnings. The ground pulsed with vibrations, like a heartbeat from something huge beneath the soil. Ryan whispered, "This planet just keeps getting worse." The tigress mother ignored him. She focused only on the beast. Her glowing stripes brightened, signaling that she was ready to attack. But she didn't move. She waited. Ryan knew predators waited only when the enemy was dangerous enough to kill them. Heavy breath echoed through the forest. Then another. Then a growl so deep the trees vibrated. Ryan peeked through the leaves and saw it clearly for the first time. A giant creature, easily 9 meters tall, with thick armor-like skin and bone plates across its shoulders. It had 4 glowing red eyes and 2 massive tusks pointing forward like swords. Its claws dug into the earth with each step, leaving deep marks. It sniffed the air. Searching. Ryan felt fear crawling up his spine. He whispered, "It's tracking." The cub. The tigress mother quickly turned toward him and gave a quiet, sharp growl, her way of telling him to be silent. She stepped back, touching the cub with her tail. The cub understood and ran to her side, but then the creature's head snapped toward their direction. Silence. Its 4 eyes glowed like burning coals. Ryan's heart beat so fast he thought it might burst. The monster roared again, shaking the trees, and charged directly at them. "Run!" Ryan shouted instinctively. The tigress grabbed Ryan's arm with shocking force and pulled him with her as she sprinted through the jungle. Ryan stumbled, barely keeping up, but her strength kept him upright. The cub climbed onto her back, holding tight. They ran between giant roots, under glowing branches, past floating spores that lit their escape path. The monster smashed through everything behind them, unstoppable. Trees fell like grass under its weight. Ryan looked back once. Big mistake. The creature leaped forward, crushing a tree where he had just stood seconds ago. It snarled with hunger and fury. "That thing wants us dead." Ryan gasped. The tigress growled, confirming it. She didn't slow down. Her movements were smooth and silent despite her size. She jumped over logs, slid under vines, and zigzagged. Through thick patches of glowing mushrooms, Ryan felt every breath burn in his chest. She was fast, far faster than a human could ever run. But the creature was not slowing either. Suddenly, the jungle ahead became brighter, a clearing. The tigress charged into it and finally stopped moving. Ryan collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. The cub clung to its mother tightly, terrified. The clearing was strange. The grass here glowed gold. A huge fallen tree lay across the middle, covered in ancient marks and symbols. The air felt lighter, calmer. "What is this place?" Ryan whispered. The tigress placed a clawed finger on her lips, signaling silence. The monster reached the tree line, breathing heavily. It looked confused. It sniffed the air again, but its red eyes flickered uncertainly. It took a step into the clearing, and suddenly froze. The light around it shifted, forming a faint shimmer like an invisible barrier. Ryan blinked. "Is it scared?" The tigress nodded once. The creature backed away slowly, growling in frustration. It circled the clearing, trying to find a weakness, but never stepped inside. Whatever this place was, the beast refused to enter. Finally, with a furious roar, it turned and crashed back into the forest, disappearing into the shadows it came from. Ryan collapsed fully onto the glowing grass. I thought we were dead." The tigress mother moved closer to Ryan. She leaned forward and sniffed his neck, checking if he was hurt. Ryan stayed still, letting her examine him. Her eyes softened. She seemed relieved. The cub crawled off her back and sat beside Ryan, nudging his arm as if thanking him for running with them. Ryan let out a shaky laugh. "You two are going to give me a heart attack." But the tigress didn't laugh. She crouched in front of him, her expression serious. She pointed at the fallen tree covered in symbols. "Safe," she said in broken English. "Hold. Ground. Safe." Ryan looked around slowly. This wasn't just a clearing. It was a sanctuary, an ancient place protected by something he didn't understand. He looked back at the tigress. "You brought me here," he said softly. "You protected me, even though I'm human." "Why?" She held his gaze for a long moment. Then she placed her hand on his chest, right over his heart. Her voice was quiet but clear. "You saved my cub." Ryan swallowed hard. For the first time, he didn't see her as a predator. He saw her as a mother, a guardian, and maybe something more. The jungle hissed softly in the distance, reminding them the danger wasn't gone. But for this moment, they were safe. And Ryan realized one thing: the universe didn't bring him to this planet by accident. There was a reason he saved the cub. There was a reason the tigress saved him. This bond was only beginning. The clearing stayed quiet for several long minutes. Ryan's heartbeat slowed as he sat on the glowing golden grass, finally breathing normally. The tigress mother stood guard at the edge of the sanctuary, her stripes dimming but her eyes alert. The cub lay against Ryan's leg, exhausted. Ryan looked at the strange carved tree beside them. The runes glowed faintly, like the tree itself was alive. "How old is this place?" he whispered. The tigress mother didn't answer. She simply watched the forest with a wild intensity Ryan had never seen before. She could feel the danger still lingering. Waiting, the cub nuzzled Ryan's hand. He smiled weakly. "At least you feel safe." But deep inside, Ryan knew something important. The giant monster wasn't the only threat here. The jungle was whispering, again, soft clicking sounds, like stones tapping. A familiar vibration moved under the soil, strange and rhythmic. Ryan stood slowly. What now? The tigress's ears twitched. She lifted her head and sniffed the air. Her eyes narrowed. Something else was coming. Not the armored monster. Something worse. A Second shadow appeared in the trees, quieter, smoother, faster. Ryan felt a cold chill run up his spine. This shadow moved with purpose, not hunger. It stepped between the trees like it owned the entire jungle. The tigress mother growled deeply. Ryan whispered, "You know this one." She nodded. The new creature stepped into view. It was tall, almost as tall as the tigress mother. But instead of soft stripes or warm fur, its body was wrapped in dark stone-like plates. Its legs were built for speed, and its arms ended in long, razor-like claws. Its skin looked like volcanic rock mixed with steel. Its eyes burned with a cold blue light, sharp, intelligent, cruel. Ryan felt a horrifying realization. This is a hunter. The tigress bared her fangs. Her stripes flared white, brighter than before. The cub squeaked and hid behind Ryan. Again, the hunter creature stepped inside the clearing. The barrier didn't stop it. This sanctuary protected them from beasts, not from intelligent killers. Ryan stepped back. "It's hunting you, isn't it?" The tigress nodded again, slowly, sadly. This was not a random attack. This hunter had followed her for a long time. The creature sniffed the air, then turned its cold eyes to Ryan. It tilted its head curiously, as if measuring him. Then it ignored him completely. It didn't see Ryan as a threat. Perhaps not even as a living thing that mattered. Instead, it focused on the cub. Ryan's blood turned cold. The hunter took one smooth step forward. The tigress mother roared. A terrifying sound, full of rage and primal protection. Her tail lifted. Her claws extended, and she stepped between the hunter and her child. The clearing shook with their tension. Ryan whispered, "No, she can't fight that thing alone." But she didn't look back. She didn't need to. This was her battle. The hunter hissed and swung its arm. The air cracked like lightning. The tigress dodged, but barely. Its claws sliced through a tree trunk behind her, cutting it clean in half. The cub cried out. Ryan felt something ignite inside him. Fear, anger, instinct. He grabbed his small flare gun and stood beside the cub, shielding it. He felt stupid, weak compared to these monsters, but he refused to run. The hunter lunged again. This time, the tigress didn't dodge. She blocked the strike with her forearm. The impact sent shockwaves through the ground. Her claws slashed across the hunter's armor, creating sparks. But the hunter barely flinched. The tigress staggered back. Blood dripped from her arm. Ryan shouted, "Hey, over here!" He fired the flare gun. A bright red ball of fire shot into the hunter's chest, exploding with loud noise. The hunter stumbled back, surprised but not hurt. It turned to Ryan, confused, like it didn't expect the human to interfere. The tigress used the moment and slammed into the hunter with full force. They tumbled across the clearing, claws and teeth flashing. The battle was brutal, fast, impossible to follow. Ryan grabbed a large fallen branch and held it tightly. Stupid idea. But he refused to stand and watch. The hunter pinned the tigress down, claws pressing into her shoulder. She roared in pain. Ryan didn't think. He ran forward and smashed the branch across the hunter's head. It cracked loudly. The hunter turned to him slowly, surprised again. That tiny moment was all the tigress needed. She kicked the hunter off and leapt to her feet. The glow in her stripes intensified until her entire body looked like burning gold. She let out a roar so powerful that Ryan felt it in his bones. The hunter stepped back. Shocked. She charged. She slammed her claws into the hunter's chest, breaking through its stone-like armor. The hunter screeched, a strange metallic sound, and collapsed to the ground, defeated. Ryan stood frozen, the broken branch in his hand. The tigress panted heavily. Her body trembled. She dropped to her knees. Ryan rushed to her. "You're hurt, let me help." She looked at him with strained eyes. She touched his face gently. "Human. Brave," she whispered weakly. Ryan held her steady as the cub climbed onto her lap, crying softly. He looked at the defeated hunter, then at the wounded tigress. This jungle, this planet, is trying to kill us, Ryan said quietly. But I'm not leaving you. Either of you. The tigress blinked slowly, a sign of trust. Something deep changed between them in that moment. Not just survival, something stronger. Something that would bind them together in the dangerous world ahead. The clearing was quiet again. But not peaceful. The hunter's body lay motionless in the glowing grass, dark smoke rising from its cracked armor. The air smelled like burnt stone and metal. Ryan's heartbeat slowly came down, but fear still tingled through his chest. The tigress. Mother knelt on one knee, breathing hard. Deep claw marks ran across her shoulder, glowing with faint red light. The cub pressed its head against her stomach, trembling. Ryan dropped beside her. Hey, stay with me, you're bleeding. The tigress closed her eyes as if struggling to stay conscious. Her strength, her pride, her wild power, everything looked fragile now. Ryan gently placed his hand on her wounded arm. She didn't pull away. That alone shocked him. Let me help, he whispered. She opened her eyes just a little. And for the first time, Ryan saw something he never expected from a creature that strong. Pain, fear, and trust. Slowly, she nodded. Ryan tore open his emergency medical kit. His hands trembled. Human medical tools weren't designed for alien biology, but he had no other choice. He cleaned the wound with a glowing gel foam meant for deep cuts. The tigress hissed loudly, claws digging into the ground. Ryan flinched. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's cleaning the wound. Just hold on. Her breathing steadied. She pressed her forehead gently against his shoulder, a gesture he didn't understand, but it felt like gratitude. The cub jumped onto Ryan's lap, watching him work with big worried eyes. Ryan smiled weakly. Your mom's tough. She be okay. The little creature purred softly and leaned against him. Ryan wrapped the bandage around her arm. His fingers brushed her warm fur. She didn't move away. Instead, she looked at him with soft glowing eyes, no longer fierce, no longer guarded. He whispered, You protected me. Even when that hunter came for your cub. The tigress lowered her gaze. She touched his chest again, over his heart. You saved my child, she said in broken English. And me. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. For a moment, the world felt quiet. No monsters, no fear. Just the gentle glow of the sanctuary and the warmth of the alien mother and her cub. Then the tigress sat up straighter slowly. Painfully, her muscles tensed. She sniffed the air, scanning for danger. Maybe we should rest, Ryan said quickly. You're hurt. And that hunter could have friends. She shook her head. No, hunters, never alone. Ryan froze. How many? She looked toward the dark forest. Many. A cold feeling twisted inside Ryan's stomach. If more hunters were coming, the sanctuary might not save them. The tigress saw the fear on his face. She moved closer, placing her large hand on his shoulder. Her touch was heavy but gentle. Human. Stay with us, safe, together. Ryan looked into her glowing eyes. They were fierce, yes, but also warm, protective, almost tender. He swallowed. I'm not leaving, I promise. The tigress blinked slowly, a sign of trust among her species. Used her uninjured arm to pull Ryan closer. Their foreheads touched briefly. It was an alien gesture, but Ryan felt something powerful in that moment. A bond. A connection. A promise. The cub climbed onto his shoulder, purring loudly, happy that Ryan was now part of their tiny makeshift family. Ryan laughed softly. All right. I'm not going anywhere. The tigress smiled faintly, a small but beautiful expression Ryan had never seen before. But the moment didn't last. The ground thumped again 3 times, very far away. But getting closer. The tigress's ears twitched. Hunters. More. Ryan stood quickly. We need to move. Can you walk? She nodded weakly and pushed herself to her feet. She winced in pain but stayed strong. The cub climbed onto her back. Ryan grabbed his pack. "Where do we go?" She pointed toward the deeper forest where the glowing trees grew taller and thicker. "Tribe," she said. "My people, they help." Ryan hesitated. "Will they accept me?" "A human?" The tigress stared at him for a long moment. Then she placed her hand on his cheek gently. Her voice was soft. "You saved us, they must." Ryan nodded. Together they left the sanctuary and entered the dark forest. The path ahead glowed faintly beneath the leaves as if guiding them. After a few minutes, the tigress stumbled. Ryan rushed to her side and supported her with his arm. "You're not alone," he whispered. "Lean on me." She did, not out of weakness, but because she trusted him now. As they walked deeper into the glowing jungle, the cub wrapped its tiny paw around Ryan's head, and the tigress kept close, her tail touching his leg lightly. Another gesture of protection and connection. Ryan realized something powerful. He wasn't just helping them survive. He was becoming part of their lives, part of their family, and whatever waited at the tigress's tribe would change everything. The forest grew darker as they entered the deep valley. The trees here were enormous, their roots twisted around glowing stones carved with ancient symbols. Strange blue moths floated like tiny lanterns, lighting the path. Ahead, Ryan walked close to Dara, supporting her injured arm. The cub kept switching between her shoulder and Ryan's, as if afraid of losing either of them. Suddenly the path ended. Ryan's eyes widened. A massive stone gate lay ahead, carved into a mountain wall. Golden vines wrapped around it, and the air hummed with a deep vibration Ryan could feel in his bones. Dozens of tall tigress warriors stood guard with crystal-tipped spears. The moment they saw Dara, their expressions changed from stern to shocked. One warrior shouted, "Dara returns, she bleeds." Another pointed at Ryan, "And she brings a human?" The guards stepped forward, blocking the entrance with crossed spears. Ryan raised his hands quickly. "I'm not here to cause problems. He didn't finish. From behind the guards, a loud drumbeat echoed. The crowd parted, and a tall tigress elder stepped forward. Her fur was silver, her stripes glowing like moonlight. She wore a crown of black stones and moved with the authority of someone who ruled this entire valley. Ryan whispered, "Is that?" Dara nodded weakly. "Yes, High Matriarch." The matriarch's glowing eyes locked onto Ryan like knives. "A human in our sacred valley. Dara, why?" Dara stepped forward despite her injuries. "Humans saved my cub, saved me." Gasps spread through the crowd. The matriarch frowned. "Impossible. Humans do not help our kind." Ryan spoke carefully. "Maybe most don't, but I'm not most humans." The warriors growled at his boldness. Dara snarled at them, forcing them to step back. She placed her injured arm protectively in front of Ryan. The matriarch raised her staff. Silence. Everyone obeyed instantly. She examined the cub first. The little creature chirped, jumped onto Ryan, and curled around his neck happily. The matriarch's eyes widened. "The cub bonds with him." Dara nodded. "He fed him, held him, protected him." The matriarch's expression darkened. "Such bonds are sacred. They do not happen by accident." A tall warrior stepped out from the crowd. His voice was cold. "He could have tricked the cub. Humans use bait." Ryan glared. "Do I look like someone who tricks babies?" The warrior growled, stepping close. Dara roared with such fury that even the warrior stumbled back. The matriarch lifted her staff again. "We know." The valley echoed with her voice. She walked closer to Ryan, circling him slowly, analyzing every detail. His tired eyes, his shaking hands, the blood on his sleeves, the cub sitting peacefully on his shoulder. Finally, she asked softly, "Why would a human risk his life?" "For our kind." Ryan swallowed. "Because your cub needed help." That's it. That's the whole reason. The matriarch stared as if searching his soul. Then she turned to her people. Bring the circle stone. The valley stirred with fear. Warriors brought forward a giant disc made of glowing crystal. They placed it in the center of the valley. When it touched the ground, the rooms lit up in a spiral of blue light. Dara whispered urgently to Ryan, "This is trial stone. If tribe rejects you, stone decides fate." Ryan's face paled. Decides fate? What does that even mean? She pressed her forehead to his, a tender, emotional gesture. "Do not fear. I stay with you." The matriarch pointed at Ryan. "Step onto the circle." Ryan breathed deeply and stepped forward. The stone pulsed under his feet, reading his heartbeat, his emotions, maybe even his intentions. The crowd watched with sharp, hungry eyes. The matriarch asked the first question. "Do you intend harm to this tribe?" Ryan answered instantly. "No, never." The stone glowed soft blue. Whispers echoed through the crowd. Second question. "Do you value the cub's life?" Ryan placed his hand on the cub. "More than my own." The stone glowed bright white. The crowd gasped. Even the matriarch's eyes softened. Third question, the most dangerous one. "Would you protect the mother, even if it cost your life?" Ryan looked at Dara, exhausted, wounded, still fiercely protective of him. He stepped forward and spoke with absolute honesty. "Yes, I would." The circle stone erupted in golden light, brighter than the torches, brighter than the sky itself. The valley went silent. The matriarch stared at Ryan for a long moment, then lowered her staff. "Dara," she said, "your human speaks truth." The crowd fell completely silent. The matriarch raised her voice. "By the circle's judgment, the human is accepted." The warriors lowered their spears. The cub squeaked happily. Dara exhaled with relief and leaned gently against Ryan. But then, the matriarch said something unexpected. "However, acceptance does not guarantee safety." She turned her glowing eyes toward the dark forest. "The hunters will come again. Stronger, many." The valley trembled. Ryan felt his heart race. Dara looked at him, her voice soft yet full of emotion. "Stay with us, not enemy, part of family." Ryan nodded. And in that moment, he knew, whatever came next, he wasn't facing it alone. Asterisk night fell over the valley like a soft blue curtain. The tribe lit dozens of floating flame orbs that drifted above the ground like silent lanterns. The air hummed with calm energy, but underneath that calm, danger still waited. Ryan stood beside Dara and the cub near a tall stone pillar carved with glowing patterns of ancient Tigress warriors. The circle stone still glowed faintly under the moonlight. Remembering Ryan's answers, for the first time since arriving on this planet, Ryan felt something unusual. He wasn't afraid, not because the valley was safe, but because he wasn't alone anymore. Dara rested with her cub beside one of the fires. Her injured arm was wrapped in special healing fabric the tribe used, a glowing, warm cloth that pulsed softly like a heartbeat. The cub sat in Ryan's lap, chewing his shirt like it was a toy. Ryan laughed. "You're going to eat all my clothes one day." Dara looked at him with a soft smile, a rare, precious expression. "Cub likes you." Ryan shrugged. "I like him too. He's my little buddy now." The cub squeaked happily, climbing onto his head and wrapping its tail around his neck like a scarf. Some warriors nearby chuckled, whispering, "Strange human. Cub chose him. Maybe he is not enemy after all." For the first time, their voices had no hate in them. But the peaceful moment didn't last long. The high matriarch approached, staff glowing brighter with every step. Her expression was serious. "Ryan," she said, her voice deep and echoing, "come." Ryan stood slowly, handing the cub back to Dara. She held her child close, watching Ryan with worried eyes. Ryan followed the matriarch to the highest point in the valley. A stone platform overlooking the entire jungle. From here, he could see glowing treetops stretching as far as the horizon. Stars sparkled. Above like diamond dust. The matriarch lifted her staff. Do you see them? Ryan squinted. See what? Then he saw it, moving shadows. Not one. Not two, dozens slithering between the trees, glowing with cold blue light. Hunters. His stomach tightened. They're coming back. The matriarch nodded. Yes, and this time, not for food. Ryan felt his chest tighten. What do they want? She looked at him with sad eyes. They want your bond. Ryan froze. My bond? The matriarch pointed at the valley below, at Dara and her cub. You touched sacred family bond. You protected mother. You fed cub. You have been accepted by Circlestone. Hunters sense this bond. To them, it is powerful energy. They come to break it. Ryan felt a chill crawl through him. So they want to kill me? The matriarch shook her head slowly. No, worse. They want to kill her. And the cub. Ryan's heart stopped. His hands clenched into fists. No, no way. I'm not letting that happen. The matriarch studied him quietly. You speak with heart. But you are still human. Small, weak, soft. Ryan stared at her. Maybe, but I won't run. Her eyes glowed brighter. That is why tribe accepts you. She reached into a carved stone box and removed a strange object. Small, golden, and glowing. It looked like a claw made of metal and light. Ryan frowned. What is that? The matriarch pressed it against his chest. The claw dissolved into golden threads and wrapped around Ryan's body like warm electricity. His skin tingled, his senses sharpened. The world looked clearer, brighter. He gasped. What did you do to me? The matriarch smiled slightly. We give you Karan, the spirit of the protector. It will not make you strongest, but it will make you fearless. Hunters cannot feed on fear. Ryan blinked, stunned. He felt changed. Not superhuman, but stronger inside. The matriarch placed a hand on his shoulder. Dara and cub trust you. Now tribe does too, Ryan whispered. I won't let them down. The matriarch nodded once, then go. Ryan ran down the stone path, heart pounding, not with fear, but fire. Dara stood when she saw him. Human? Ryan smiled. Name is Ryan, and I'm staying. Dara blinked, confused. Hunters come. You're not safe. Ryan stepped closer. I'm not leaving you or the cub. The cub squeaked and leaped back into Ryan's arms, hugging him tightly. Ryan held him gently. See? He doesn't want me to go. Dara stared at Ryan for a long moment. Then slowly, her eyes softened. She placed her forehead against his, the deepest gesture of trust her species could give. You are family, she whispered. Ryan felt warmth spread through him. But before the moment could settle, a deep roar echoed across the valley. The hunters arrived. Ryan turned toward the jungle, fire in his eyes. He stepped in front of Dara and her cub, not as prey, not as outsider, not as weak human, but as their protector. Come on then, Ryan whispered. Let's finish this. Dara moved beside him, claws ready. The cub climbed under Ryan's shoulder, growling fiercely. The tribe behind them roared as one. The hunters charged. Ryan did not fear them, because now he had something worth fighting for. And he wasn't alone. The human had become the protector of a Tigress family and the tribe's newest warrior.